What's up, campers? It's your boy Scoop. You are live with Heavycampfxgroup. Alright, guys, so on today's video, we're going to be looking at the news events for the upcoming week, which is the third week of August. So as you can currently see, we are on the 15th, which is Sunday, right? So the markets are not open yet, but they will be late. They will be open later on today, right, guys? So we're just going to be looking at the news events for this week, possibly what we will be trading. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into it. So today is the 15th, but then we're going to be looking from Monday, which is the 16th, going forward, right, guys? So jumping straight into it, we can see that on the 16th, which is Monday, there's not a lot of news events. Possibly for the pairs that we are trading, guys, there's not a lot of news events we're going to be looking at on Monday. So we're going to be basically trading based on our setups, right, guys? And then moving on to Tuesday, we do have some red folder news. So remember, guys, the news that we are looking for, it's a red folder news, right, guys? High impact news. And then we do go for mid impact news at times, depending on whether we are looking at the charts at that time, right, guys? Remember that we don't trade. You're not supposed to be on the charts all the time, guys. Either you want to trade maybe the London session, the Asian session, or maybe New York session, but you can't really, trade all the sessions. This is how you blow your accounts, or this is how you get to overtrade. All right, guys. So just continuing. So we're just going to continue. So we were on Tuesday. All right, guys. So Tuesday we can see around London Open, we have some GBP news. So this is something we will definitely be looking at, right, guys? And then later on in the day, we'll also have some USD news. So these are red folder news. So these are things that we like to look at. And then if you look at the PDF, guys, I do mention these retail sales for USD. So this is definitely something we want to look at, right, guys? So how we basically use the news or fundamentals to trade the news is that, as you can see here, guys, let me just scroll up. You can see we have previous results. And then we have the forecast, meaning what are they anticipating the news results are going to be. And then we have the actual news, right, guys? So how we trade is we don't trade based on the forecast. This is just anticipations. This is just guesswork, right, guys? Even though it's educated guesses, but it's mainly guesswork, right, guys? So what we wait for is the actual news to drop at that specific time. So you can see at 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday, we will get USD news. So what will happen is, as you can see, the forecast is at 0.2. So they're expecting a drop. So from the previous, they're expecting that the results will drop, right, guys? So let's say, for an example, that the actual news do come out and the news are at 0.1, for an example. So lower than what was forecasted. This will be bad for the USD. So if, for an example, you are looking at a pair USD ZAR, right? So not automatically, but we can anticipate that the pair will go down. We'll see some bearish movement, right, guys? And then let's say we get some good news. Let's say the actual news come out and then we get a number like 0.4, 0.9, or 1 point something, a number higher than this, right, guys? So that will be good news for the retail news, for the retail USD news, right, guys? So what that means is that if you are looking at the same pair, USD ZAR, that means that we can anticipate that USD ZAR, the pair that we are looking at, will start having bullish movement. The market will start moving in an upward direction, right, guys? But then that's not so what I want to say, guys, is that just because the news are good or are bad for that specific currency that you are looking at, that doesn't necessarily mean that if the news are good, then automatically any USD pairs will go up, right, guys? It also depends on how good the news are, also what's happening at that specific time. Is it for an example, if for an example we are looking at USD ZAR, are we at London Open? Are we at New York Open? So these things also affect, right, guys? So you don't just look at the news and then just if the news are good and then you just go buy, right, guys? There's a lot of things that also come into effect in terms of that, right, guys? Firstly, we go off our analysis. So we basically analyze the market. We would set our key levels and all of that, and then we look at the news, right, guys? So if the news correspond with our technical analysis, that's when we know that's added confluence for us, right, guys? So that's when we know, okay, this is a high probability trade. This is when we maybe go in with a higher lot size and stuff like that. Right, guys. So moving on. So we're going to look at Wednesday. So as you can see, Wednesday there's a lot of news for NZD. So if you want to trade NZD, guys, you have to be you have to wake up a bit earlier if you are in SA, for example, because this is around Asian session. So definitely this will be a huge market mover. I'm not sure if I will be looking at this. It will depend, but in most cases I might. And we'll also be looking at Aussie dollar USD, even though it doesn't have news events at that time. What I've noticed is that whenever NZD moves, Aussie dollar USD, for an example, will also move. So it's pairs that you can look at around the Asian session, right, guys? And then around London Open on Wednesday, we're definitely going to be looking at these, as I love trading GBP. So we'll be looking at GBP USD, GBP JPY. Yeah, so this is definitely something to look at, guys. I'll definitely send my trade ideas and trade analysis on how we will be looking at this, guys. And then moving on, we have some CAD news later on. So if you're looking at so this will be pre-New York Open, definitely something to look at if CAD pairs are pairs that you are looking at, alright, guys. And then going down, you can see Thursday we have some Aussie dollar news. So this is around the Asian session, so you have to wake up pretty early to catch these news, guys. But this is news that we look at. If you look in the PDF under Aussie dollar, you can see that I've highlighted these. I've actually included these news events, right, guys? So even with these, for an example, employment change, you can see the forecast, what they are anticipating. These are the numbers for the previous results, right, guys? So remember, if we get a number higher than this, so that means that employment change has changed. So a number higher than this, that's good for the Aussie dollar, right? And then unemployment rate, what they are anticipating is that it will rise. So as we're looking at this, so previous was 4.9, right, guys? So unemployment means it was, okay, looking at the previous month, we don't really know. We can go back and find that information, but just based on this, they're anticipating that from the previous, the unemployment will rise. So unemployment in Australia will rise, right, guys? So this is not good for the Aussie dollar. So what will happen is, let's say for an example, we get a number lower than this, 4.9, 4.8, anything lower than this, then this will be good, because this will mean that the unemployment actually dropped, right, guys? But if you get a number that is like a number exactly like this, for an example 5.0% or higher, 5.1, then if you are looking at a pair like Aussie dollar USD, then it will drop, because this will be bad for the economy of Australia, right, guys? Now, so that's how we look at news. So this is definitely something to look at on Thursday. And then moving into London Open, there's not much going on. And then also around pre-New York Open, definitely some orange folder news. So this is something to look at also. Some volume might kick in the markets. And then Fridays, on Friday we have some GBP news around London Open. So this is definitely something we want to look at, guys. As we know that Fridays the market don't really move that much. They do move, but in most cases you want to be in the earlier moves, right, guys? So that later on maybe you're either holding on to your positions or you are basically scalping. But Fridays don't really have that much volume. Guys. Yeah, so these are the news events we're going to be looking at for the third week of August. Alright, guys, so remember how you look at news, guys, is that once you, for an example, let's say you want to trade this, just set a reminder on your phone so that around 2 o'clock you get an alert to say, okay, there's going to be USD news. You know, even if you're not trading them, guys, just to study the markets, always look at the news, what happens around the news. Just look what the actual results are, and then based on the results, just go look at the pair, maybe a USD ZAR, USD CAD, anything that has to USD share, for an example. Yeah, just look at those pairs and then just look based on the actual results, how did that pair move? Was it good? If the news were good, for example, for the dollar, how does that pair move? How much pips did it move based on the news, right, guys? Because remember, also how good or how bad the news are also determines how much the market moves. So if, for example, the news are good but they're not that good, you'll find that you might get a 10 pip, 15 pip movement. And then if the news are super good, you find that the market will move around 30, 40 pips. Right, guys? So that's what you also want to be aware of whenever you are trading using fundamentals. Alright, guys? Yeah, so that's it. So remember, guys, we find news at forexfactory.com. Just go to any search engine and then just type that, and then you go to calendar, and then just go to the specific dates that you are looking for, and then just look for the news events for that upcoming week. Alright, guys, so that's it for this video. It's your boy Scoop, Heavy Camp. We're signing out.